Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cucina Aurora podcast. I am just so thrilled to be starting this series, Conversational Witchcraft. This is our second series and the first episode of our second series, and we have the amazing Elhoim, he's just fantastic, and he is just the kindest, most gentle, wonderful person. I want to just give you a little bit of his background. Born in Venezuela to a family of spiritual healers, Elhoim now lives in New York City, where he is manifesting his best life. He is a testimonial to the techniques described in his book. He's an urban shaman, a diviner, a traditional magician who is influenced by old folklore, pagan spirituality, and traditional Afro-Caribbean mythology. He teaches throughout New York City and at different events online. So if you have the chance to sit in a room with this man, I highly suggest you do. Thank you so much for being here. Elhoim, welcome for my first guest on my new podcast. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you.
I am grateful. Thank you. Thanks to you always for everything. You are amazing. You know that I told you before, you represent the best of this community. You are kind, you are smart, you are beautiful, you work a lot. You work so hard. You are always working. You don't need to show off anything because you don't have the time to show off anything, because you are always working and being successful, and you have an amazing book.
Thank you. But you're just showering me with this praise, but really, I'm just so grateful that you agreed. And you were like I asked a bunch of people to come on this podcast, and I have a lot of folks coming on, but you were the first one. You were within minutes. You're like, yes, I'm in. And let me thank you, because when I came out with my new book, you were the first person to ask me to come on your live stream. So I'm
amazing book. I have a lot of sisters, like a lot, and you are literally the one woman in my life that put me in the kitchen. No one else has that power. Not my mom, not my sister, just you.
Really? So what have you been doing in the kitchen since you got the book?
The first thing that I tried was this. I think that was like a sidra, a cider in English. It's something with gingers.
The tonic. Yeah, exactly. It's a lemon ginger tonic with turmeric and honey.
Yeah, I remember that I told you, this is the first recipe that I want to try. Yes. And after that, we try salads. You have amazing salads in the book. You have a pasta.
Yeah.
I love pasta. Who don't love pasta?
Who doesn't love pasta?
Exactly.
I think there's a problem. Like, if somebody says to me they don't like garlic or pasta, I'm like, what do you kick puppies in your sleep? Like how? That's terrible. Like, only horrible people don't eat pasta. I shouldn't say that, but it's my opinion. And to be fair, I have a gluten allergy, so I can't eat traditional pasta. I can only eat like rice pasta. But I
can eat for you. I can do the sacrifice.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay, that sounds good. But it's funny because we met so many years ago in New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, how long had you been in New York at that time?
I arrived in 5 years ago. That was my first event. And every time that this story comes out over and over and people ask me about the events, I always repeat the same story. The first person with who I speak with was Aurora, down Cucina, Aurora. Every time that someone asks me, I always tell the story again, because in that moment, I think that was 2016, I'm not sure, or 2015, 2016 or 2017, I'm not really sure the year. You was here in New York. In that moment, I don't speak any word of English. I just say hi and thank you. And I remember that in that moment, I don't understand the context of the word thank you. So I say thank you to you. That bad was my English. I see you that day. I was with my partner. He was translating for us, and I was in love of your place, your little store that you have in there. You have the bread, you have the oil.
Yeah, the olive oil.
You noted that I don't speak English. You take the time to explain everything for me. oh, this is bread, you put this in the oil, and I would just catch in the words in that moment, oh, this is oil, this is how they say aceite. And when you say this is bread, I say, oh, this is pan. I mean, I was translating when you was speaking. So it was a total English witchcraft lesson in there, very discreet, very kind, very spontaneous. So every time that someone asks me about the events, I always say over and over this story, because when you come to a place like New York City, you know, people have some ego, and New York City is very overwhelming. People like, oh, I live in New York City, you know, I am the prince.
Yeah.
When you come here, people have this tendency to don't take you very seriously, or people just try to push you away. Yeah. And it was incredibly kind. And I remember that the truth is I don't have much money in that moment. Not like I am a millionaire or something, but in that moment I was totally in zero. I don't have too much, and you was like, oh, but if you want to try this, if you want to try the bread, you want to try the oil, you can try, and I have this price, I have these other things, and you offer us everything, and we buy your oils, and we fall in love of your oil. It was an amazing experience. We passed for all the locals of the event, and was cookies, was wine, was a lot of things. And we just buy in one local and once in yours. The next year, this is the second part of the story. The next year, I arrived to the same event looking for you with a copy of my book to tell you, hi, this is my book. Last year, I meet you. And in the moment, I was trying exactly the Magical Art of Casting Charm.
This book? Yeah, that book. That you signed for me with so much love.
Yeah, that was the first copy of a book that I signed. Literally,
I could cry. Yeah. So it was the New York City Pagan Pride Day.
Exactly.
And I remember so clearly. It was a beautiful day, and I remember you coming up to the booth, and I remember you being with your partner, and I remember him translating everything. Yeah. And I think you really loved, if I remember, it was the lemon oil that you really loved. Exactly. Lemon oil that you really loved. And I remember, I mean, New York is an intimidating place. Okay. It is. It's an intimidating place. I'm originally from New York, not the city, but a different part of New York. But I would go to New York City Pagan Pride Day every year. And it is an intimidating place. And to walk into your very first Pagan Pride Day in the middle of New York City, like, it's mind blowing, and you're right. New Yorkers can either be overwhelming or standoffish. Exactly. And you're walking into this space and you don't know anyone and you don't speak the language. And, I could just imagine how it's hard enough as a native New Yorker, as someone who speaks New York, because speaking New York is different than speaking English. Totally. Right? Because you literally have to say fuck every other minute if you want to be from New York. So yeah, it's an intimidating place to be for somebody that's been there a bunch of times. I can't even imagine how overwhelming it was for you. So I remembered you. And then the following year, you came back and you gave me this amazing book, The Magical Art of Crafting Charm Bags. And I couldn't believe that in a year where I had met you and you were just a person that I met for like 5 minutes who fed olive oil to, and that you gifted me with this amazing, and to sign it for me and to give me the first printed copy, to this day, like, I was crying. I was like, I can't believe it. And then when you walked away, like, I went over to my friend who I was working with and I was like, I can't believe it. This guy just gave me this book. Like, it just meant the absolute world to me. You have no idea. And I guess that's really important, right? Especially as pagans, like how we walk a path. You have no idea how you're going to affect someone else just by walking through the world the way that you are. Have you had an experience where just by walking through the world the way that you are, where you have impressed upon someone the way I impressed on you that time?
Yes. Yeah. Imagine that day probably Juno was there and I don't have the opportunity to speak with you. Probably the next year I don't go to arrive to the place and don't have contact with anyone else, because the experience will be different. In that case, will be, I go to this event every year and nobody has contact with me. People is very train me away, so I prefer don't go. I remember that when the copies started to come to my home, when I received my first copies, I take one from the box, and my partner he can testify that in front of every lawyer. I say, this copy is for her. And he was like, oh, probably she don't will come. Probably this was just one time that she come here because she's from New Hampshire. That's very close to Salem and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't care. I can save the copy for years at the moment that I see her because I believe in the power of magic. I am in New York City, and the story of how I arrived in USA was an incredible story.
Would you share that with me? Would you share that story with me? How you arrived in New York City?
Yeah, obviously. But the point of that story is that I always believe that magic can move the world. And I think that every person that you find in your path, for good or for bad, has a lot of influence in you. And me, that has a lot of influence on me. The next year, I arrived with a copy of the book. I signed for you in that moment. And after that, I started giving copies to other persons. But you was my priority. Because for me, it was like, okay, she's like my favorite mother. I need to give this to her like a proof that her oils, her food, her magic really works. This book is a proof of that.
You have no idea how much that touches me, because the way that I walk my path. Yes, I make olive oil, and yes, I write magical cookbooks, and I consider myself to be like a professional, pagan, a professional witch, just like you, out there in the world, making a living as who you are. But I don't ever attempt to have that kind of impression on someone, and I'm just. I don't know how to take in that kind of kindness, Elhoim. Like, I don't know how to handle that sort of love, because I just figure, like, if you meet anyone, you should treat them exactly the same way you would want to be treated. Everyone deserves, in my opinion, everyone deserves kindness. Everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves the best I can give, until they prove otherwise, right? Like, until, exactly. And I'm a true Scorpio, so if you cross me, and we have a trouble, exactly. Right? But to be fair, I would never think in a million years that in that 10 minutes that we met the first time, that I would have had that sort of an impact on you and an impression on the pagan community in New York City, and writing this book and all of that. And the fact that you a year later remembered that moment and remembered me, like, you have no idea how much that fills me up. But that is how I think we as pagans should walk through the world, right? In terms of spreading our magic, because exactly. It's not what we practice, it's who we are.
Exactly.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree totally. And magic and witchcraft started in the kitchen. I mean, you can't be a witch if you don't know how to use your kitchen. It's essentially, I grew up in this family where everybody is a healer. Practically everybody is a healer. And everybody in home practice magic. So it's very casual. I don't know if you meet many Latino families, but we are always in the kitchen. We have the gossip in the kitchen. We have the party in the home, but you see all the people inside of the kitchen.
Yes. The same with Italian families.
Exactly.
It's all
the kitchen is the sacred place.
Yes, absolutely.
The rest of the home is for the guests. You can go there and hang out around, but the kitchen is the important place. Mm-hmm. And in my home, when people visit us, they have the impression that you go to this. I remember my school colleagues, my friends of the school, when they go to my home, they have all this impression because everybody around the school know my family, because my mom was always dressing white with flowers. She's a total Santero hippie weird.
Was it your mom? Some woman, a beautiful maternal person was with you at one of the pagan parties?
She's like my second mom. She's my mother-in-law. She's the mom of
your mother-in-law, your mom of your partner. Okay.
Yeah, but she practically take me in her arms.
She's adopted you? She's adopted you into her household?
Yeah. She practically adopted me. She paid for my English classes before come to United States. She paid for my college.
Wow. Well,
So
I
so
mean,
it's family.
you're hard not to love. So of course she did. Of course she did. I mean, why wouldn't she? You're an
Yeah,
amazing
but
person and she sees
when I
that.
meet them, I don't have money to pay the college.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, what you go to do with your life because you are with my son. Okay, I know how to do this. I am a tarotist and I know how to do these other things. And she was like, oh, all that is perfect, all of that is beautiful, but you need a title. And they was like, well, college is very expensive. I'm in Venezuela with all the situation, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, those are just excuses. You need it because, in this society, you need it. Probably you don't go to use it never, but you need to have it.
Yeah.
And she looked with me for all the college. She go to the different college. She made all the interviews with me. And when we find the place, she was like, okay, we need the money. We go to the bank. We go to look how we find the money, but we need to put you in the college. And it was like, wow, okay, it's
Wow.
coming.
One of the things you said when we were preparing for this and in some of the questions that I had asked you was that women are the greatest teachers.
Women's power.
Yeah,
Always.
So why do you, I mean, I agree, but, but why do you feel that way?
First, in a psychological aspect, before come to the metaphysics, in the psychological aspect, men, we has a tendency to be more narcissist, and that is dangerous. We are more narcissist than women. But we grow up with this bypass, always saying, oh, all women, they pay so much attention to the clothes, they use so much makeup, but women really are not narcissists. They are just like, I want to decorate myself, and it's a way of expression, and it's pretty different. Men has this tendency to think that we don't need to fix, we don't need to clothe, we don't need to dress in a way because we are enough narcissists for that. We have a total lack of empathy in that department. And when you are around for many men, probably from each 10 men that you have around, at least 9 of them are very narcissist persons. And you need to take very cautions about it because most of the information that they can give you is information related with them and trying to put themselves in the spotlight. They are always, we have this tendency to be like, oh, I am in this circle of witchcraft where I am the leader, I am the high priest, I am the organizer. With women, and I grew up around it for many witches, and I have so many sisters, and everybody practice magic. I noted that woman has a different kind of language, maybe because woman has oppressed all the history. So evolved in a different way. So women, when they speak about this kind of paganism, circles, magic, witchcraft, never speak like, I am the leader of the circle. It's like, oh, we have this circle, you can come out, you can hang out with us, we can be part of this. And who is the leader? Oh, I am the leader, I am taking that place, but we take decisions, democratically. Woman has a different language, a different way to speak. Not just a woman don't need to be a mother to find this language. A man usually need to be a father to find this language.
That's a really interesting take. And I think it is really important to look at that societally as well as in the pagan community, right? Where you say the language of women is to create this circle of people coming together and common goal and nurturing, and everybody kind of has a job and we're all working together for whatever this common good is. Where in your opinion, the male perspective is more about like, well, I'm in charge and we're going to do it my way because I'm right.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really interesting take because
men, we have it easy because we are men. I was saying this with another person the other day. I was saying, I don't remember really who was, but I was having this conversation with someone about the rights, about the equality, LGBTQ, and blah, blah, blah. And I was saying, I don't want to sound hypocrite. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus because everyone has rights. But it's very unfair that I am a man. People ignore the fact if you are gay or straight, but you continue being a man, so you have all the rights. But women continue fighting for the same rights from many years ago. I just have the rights because I am a man. And it's totally unfair.
Why are we still having this conversation? I
Exactly.
say that to Justin all the time. Like when we talk about equality, whether it is, Black Lives Matter or now, with everything going on in the Asian community, whether it's women's equality, whatever it is, I'm like, how is it 2021 and we're still having this same argument? Like, I don't understand it. And I am grateful because I do feel like in the pagan community, there is less of that.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that really drew me to the pagan community, especially here in New England where we are. You know, nobody cares. Nobody cares if you're, you haven't met my amazing husband and partner, Justin, but he is like a big, strapping, heterosexual white man, right? He's that guy, but he is the sweetest, most open, most loving, generous, like just the most amazing person. So he's not at all like what society would kind of wants him to be.
Exactly.
But the community here doesn't care if he was gay or trans or, purple. They wouldn't care, because in this community, in the pagan community, there's so much more of that. Here's the circle. And I feel like the men are more evolved in that language of the feminine, because they're more in connection with the two sides, right? The goddess and the god, the light and the dark. They're and I think that we're lucky, because in our community we do see much more of that. That doesn't mean that there isn't, like you said, some of that narcissism, some of that, I'm in charge kind of feeling. But I and again, I don't know about the community where you are, but here in our community, we're very, very grateful. And it's one of the things that kind of attracted me to one of the reasons why we decided to move out of New York and move up to New England, because there is so much of that, that walk, just everyday path, right? Like, I feel like we tend to really, we live our talk, we don't, oh, I'm going to be this way, or I'm going to live this way, and then go do something completely different. I think that we're very lucky in that respect that we.
Yes, because take this example. Imagine that tomorrow you wake up and you say to your husband, after today, I don't want to cook anything else. I go to be a lawyer. And Elhoim say tomorrow the same. I go to be a lawyer. And tomorrow, you and me, we look together for works being lawyers. Mm-hmm. Probably, ignoring the fact that I am gay, ignoring that, I will receive much more money than you, just for the fact that I am man.
Yeah, what is that?
Just for a genetical fact that actually I don't choose.
Right. Does that make you like, as a man, does that make you angry? You're like,
exactly.
This woman is more qualified than you for something. You're
exactly.
like, no, you should pay her more. Like, does that, like, it seems you're very passionate about that.
I have 5 sisters. All my sisters have
5 sisters? Wow.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. I have a lot of nephews. I see all my sisters pregnant over and over. Every time that they was pregnant, they wasn't home. I see all the suffering that a woman has, all the needs that they have. Yeah. I'm totally sure that we can do that. You see how we are? We are like, oh, I don't drink my good coffee today. I am depressed. I can go to work. Men, we are like that. We don't have that strength, but we see TV shows where people say the contrary, but we are not like that. We are weak. Women are like, okay, I have 3 children, but I need to go to the college. I need to go do my work. I need to take back the children from the college in the night, and after that, I need to go to the market. And they do everything and go to sleep and wake up the next morning and continue doing the same routine. And it's overwhelming how much a woman needs to work to be listened for everybody. But we just say hi, and everybody's like, oh, Elhoim say hi, because Elhoim is a man.
How do you feel as a male magical practitioner? And I don't know, would you say you're a witch? Do you say you're a pagan? How do you identify in the pagan community in terms of your spirituality?
The label is weird, because
the label's weird, right?
It's weird because while much more time you have in the past, you find more connection between different things, and when you're starting to read the history and the culture, you find all of this story and everything is connected in the end. So yeah. When I offer my classes in paganism, people ask me about it. I always say this example that it's a tree. It's a very big, beautiful tree in the middle of the city, and everyone is taking a different branch. But in the end, all the branches are looking the sky, but we are in the same tree in the end.
Yeah. I like to use the word, like, I know a lot of people refer to me as the kitchen witch because that's sort of like the public persona. And because that's sort of the rock that I've sort of made my living on is kitchen witchery. But when I'm talking like in my spiritual practice, I identify as pagan because I'm not just a witch. I don't just practice Wicca. I pull from all different kinds of, I have a Ganesha, and then I have Hecate, and then I have, my husband is more Norse. So sometimes we're doing a Norse ritual or pulling runes. So I like the term pagan because it's like you said, it's like that tree. It's like a nice blanket term for all of us down here that are doing like, earth-based or, polytheistic and that sort of thing. So but how has your reverence for women as teachers influenced your work magically, whether it's writing this book or your new book, which we're going to talk about in a little bit? How has your reverence for women as teachers translated into your magical work?
I have two lessons here. The first one is I come from Venezuela, but I lived most of my childhood in Amazonia. I grew up in there.
I have to hear this. I have to hear your origin story because this is just amazing. Lynn, I've never known anyone whose magical background comes from Afro-Caribbean, practices. So finish your thought, and then we need to get to that because it's fascinating.
Got it. I born in Amazon. I grew up with the tribes because my grandma is the Guayu tribe, and the Guayu tribe they are like the original tribe there. Is the Guayu, is the Chamarreros, is the Araguacs. The famous Araguac is this woman of color, Titua, from New Orleans. She comes from the Araguacs. Yep. The Araguacs was around all the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. I grew up in there, and is this mythology about shamanism that homosexuals has in some way in history has more power to do the rituals because they has both sex or both sides or both spirits. It's weird.
Correct.
But because you feeling like I am just one person, but this is what they think that you are both.
Right.
When in the tribe, they see from very child that you are has a tendency, a different sexuality or something. They for a side they feel like proud because for the tribe this is an honor in some way. So I was like, I don't want to show off, but I was like the golden child in there. It was because he's very delicate and the way how I speak, how I work, and blah blah blah.
But you're sensitive, you're emotional.
Exactly. Exactly, and actually because I don't look like the rest of the people because my grandpa is from Turkey, so I look more white,
more Turkish.
My hair is different.
Yes.
I'm very tall, and everyone in the tribe is a little smaller than me. and this was notorious from the moment that I was a child. I was always tall. So when you have that, they're starting to teach you secrets and rituals that other men can do. So you have a lot of bullying from the rest of the children in the tribe. But it's interesting because the argument for that is some rituals, initiatory rituals in the tribe that women can do. They can do it because they are women. But the hypocrisy here is if you are homosexual, you can do these rituals because you have both the spirits. You can do the rituals of the men and you can do the rituals of the woman. But the woman can't do the rituals. It's a little hypocrisy there.
Wow. So because they notice these traits in you, sensitivity, tenderness, being a little bit more quiet, having, I don't want to use the word feminine, but I don't have a better word for that.
It's the word.
So they noticed in the tribe, that you had both emotional qualities that were both male and female. And so they said, oh, you can do everything.
Exactly. So you have access to, it's like
access. You have more access because
you have access to all the secrets of nature. So you can learn all the rituals, and you see guys that are like 30 years old and they are fighting for the right to know these rituals. And I was in that moment 13 and I know the rituals from zero to the end.
Wow. So you were able to do these things and you were able to learn these things simply because of who you were. And that really influenced That I'm sure. I mean, you learn so much more than other male practitioners in that tribe, right? Because you had access to so much more.
Well, yes, but what I see there, and this is the most important part of that, is you see that men can do these rituals. Women is this ritual for women, but they can do it. They need a man do the ritual. You see the men fighting for all of this acknowledgement. They fight. They put all kind of arguments. We need to evolve on this, blah blah blah. But you see that the women are like, oh, I don't care. I can continue connecting with nature. I can do my rituals. I can continue doing my circle. If you don't give me that, I will find a different solution. They continue living in calm and continue having more responsibility, continue having children. In some way, you feel that the wisdom is in there. It's like, I don't want to fight this battle with these monkeys. I don't want to keep this fight
Well,
with these more evolved people.
Women don't have time.
Exactly.
We don't have time. Whether you're in a tribe in the Amazon or you're here in New Hampshire, women don't have time. Because we can't fight with the men because we have to raise the children and do the cooking and run our businesses and like you had said earlier that we just go, well, we have this community and we have this circle and we have, this we got bigger things to do. We're not going to waste our energy. Yeah, we're not going to waste our energy on
exactly.
That. Very interesting. Very interesting.
And after that, we moved to the city. When we moved to the city, my mom started in this part of more Afro-Caribbean religion, in Umbanda and Candomblé and Santeria and all of that. She was passionate with all of this because this was more on the city. So everybody in home started to be initiated. Something that I wasn't initiated, but something that I don't really enjoy it is because these rules are very old and these rules that obviously was made for men.
Oh.
All my sisters want to be initiated. I am the minor one. All my sisters are grow up.
So you're the youngest? You're the youngest?
I am the youngest. Okay. Exactly. I am the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
And all my sisters want to be initiated in the path, but they can't because for law, the man needs to be initiated first. Ignoring the fact that I was the youngest. They don't care. They are like, we don't care if he's the youngest, but if he's not initiated, the sisters can't do it.
So because you're the boy, you have to be initiated first,
exactly.
And all of your sisters have to wait for you?
Exactly. And it's that preference, and I don't like it. So for us, I was like, okay, I want the initiation. I really want it because I really like this religion. And it's real, African people coming to Venezuela and they go to give you the initiation. It's not someone random that you find in the street. So I was like, this is an opportunity of life. But when they tell me that, because I was, probably for logical, will be first my sisters and after that will be me. No, you need to be the first one because if you don't do it, they can do it. Was very unfair.
Yeah. I mean, that must have been, how old were you at that point?
In that moment, I was 17 or 18.
So you're young, you're a teenager, and there you are learning this lesson of inequality.
Exactly.
In that moment. Yeah. Wow. So that must really affect, your magical workings now.
I think that give me in some way more patient because I know that the world work in some way that I don't like it. So I need to find my way. And that make me a little visually from outsiders probably it's more irresponsible, but I feel more free to practice magic because I'm trying every time that someone come to put a standard, a law, or you can take this step, it's like, I know that all of this rule was made for men, so I just go to ignore it and I just continue. When I come to United States, this is part of the long story. I tried to have my first visa, to come here we need a visa.
Yes.
And the first time the embassy say no, you can go to USA. They literally say no. And it's American place, so they don't need to give you excuse, argument. They just say no, and you just go cry to your home.
Right. They don't need to have a reason. They're just, no.
Exactly.
The answer is no.
We are American.
Right. We're American. No.
Argument.
And you went to New York, so they went, fuck no.
Exactly.
Right.
I tried the second time. like a year before, and they again say no.
Wow.
I was like, okay, and I started to have a lot of depression because my partner was admitted in the university here in New York, and I was like, okay, we go to be separate.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all of this crisis in the country, I go with all of the priests of the Santeria, of all the Lukumi circle, and all of them say, oh, you need to make this ritual, you need to try this other kind of ritual for the visa and all of this. And I was like, I have a different feeling. With all of the respect, but I go to try this different ritual, and they, that you mentioned before, and they have it here in my back. I go to try this ritual with Ganesha because recently, like 3 months before that conversation, I meet the family of my partner, other family that come from India, and they give me a little statue of Ganesha.
Ganesha.
I was like, I take it like a sign, they come 3 months before and they say, okay, this is the statue of Ganesha, he removed the obstacles.
Yes.
And they love all the aesthetic, the elephant, all the wisdom, the hands, the lotus, all the philosophy. I remember that they told me every time that you have a problem, any obstacle in your life, you just confide in Ganesha, he will find a solution.
Yeah.
Just, if you don't have money, put him water. He will take it like he just cares that you have something, that you have an action to do something. And they say, you need to make all of this sacrifice and rituals and candles and I don't know, 9 nights alone without sleep. I go to pray to Ganesha, and this will be enough.
No, I'm not going to go 9 nights without sleep. I'm talk to Ganesha.
Exactly.
Me and Ganesha, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
He knows things.
Yeah, he's going to take care of it for me.
Exactly.
I'm going to give him a nice drink of water. He's going to. We're good.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then everybody was like, you can do that. They go to say no. And I did it. And when I go for my 3rd time to take the visa in the embassy, they say yes. And they give me the visa.
Wow.
So every time that someone comes to tell me, you can do that with this God because it's from a different religion, or a different path, right. I don't know who you are to think that you can speak in the name of the God like a Messiah, but you are not.
Right.
You're human like me.
Right.
If I make this prayer to this God, and the God or goddess say no, and they don't want it, they just don't go to do it.
Right.
But obviously he did it. So in some way, I find that with all of this inequality that I see around myself, is a lot of inequality put there for men. So just try not break the rules. Just try to be yourself and just let the path teach you.
That's a very interesting statement that inequality has been put there.
Yeah.
So that specifically, right, straight white men can stay in power.
Exactly.
And without getting too political, I think this is a good place to take a little break. Because we could go on and on about that. And I really want to talk about your upcoming project. So we're going to take a super quick break and we'll be right back. Okay, that's it. I just had to put the break in there, but now we're back. We're back with the wonderful Elhoim, who is drinking wine. Good for you. I did say have a glass of wine for our conversation, and I've got seltzer because that's how I roll. It's a Tuesday night, so yeah. So okay, so your story of growing up in Venezuela and in the Amazon and in the tribe. I mean, this just, it's mind blowing. And I'm just so grateful that you shared it with us. So I really want to get into what's your new project. So I know you have this amazing, so this is your book here, and I'm holding it for those of you that aren't looking at the video. This is The Magical Art of Crafting Charm Bags. It's a great book. It's a really practical guide to like spells you can carry with you, right? The charm bags, he's got a charm bag for everything. I mean, if you need better health or you need prosperity or whatever it is you need, there's a charm bag for it. Elhoim has you covered. And it just, your warmth so comes through in this book. So I'm really excited about your your upcoming project, which is, make sure I get it right, Manifestation Magic, 21 rituals, spells, and amulets for abundance, prosperity, and wealth. It is a practical guide to prosperity magic using amulets, talismans, and rituals. How fucking cool is that? Are you going to be doing these charm bags in there? Is it a different approach?
Have charm bags. Obviously have it. I need it. It's like my sign.
Yeah.
It's totally different to the last one because the book on charm bags, that I truly love it. I really love when the publisher say yes, because I have many manuscripts in my computer, and I was like, if they don't accept this, I don't go to make another book, but I need to make this book because it's different than everything else.
Well, yeah, and there's really nothing else out there that is so, the word I want to use is comprehensive, that gives you so many options, using herbs and crystals and incantations and all of these things.
When you grow up out of the city, when you grow up in Amazon, you see many tourists. Tourists come from all the world. And we made these bolsas de amuletos that are charm bags. With different elements that we put in there, stones that we take from the river, from the Orinoco River, from the Rio Negro, from the different places that we have in the Amazon. And Amazon is this beautiful place between Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil. So you see all the people moving around, and you see tourists coming. And many tourists, when you give the amulets, they are like, "Oh, this is a mojo." What? And, "Oh, this is how we call in United States." Oh, this is a grigri. What is a grigri? And this is something from New Orleans, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird because it's from here, from Amazon."
Right.
And when you see that for so many years, you're starting to take your recipes, and they have so many recipes. And I understand that people call them in so many ways: grigri bag, mojo bag, medicine bag, magical bag, spell bag, hex bag, and has so many translations also.
Yeah.
And I was accumulating so many recipes for years. So this book gave me the opportunity to put in there like a statement, like, magic is in everywhere, in different names, in different forms. So when I give the proposal of the charm bags for the publisher, one of the strengths in the proposal was this is something that you can put in Africa or you can put in Australia, and the people will know what it is.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. You know what it is. Yes. Yeah, it is something that everyone can identify. Like you said, there's so many things that are called something different.
Exactly.
But it's such a great book. So how is your new book, Manifestation Magic, going to be different from this one? Because I'm really, I work a lot with manifestation in my own life and my own, mantras and spells and, all this kind of stuff. I'm a huge manifester. That's my thing. So, and visualization and all that sort of thing. So I'm really interested to know how it's going to be different than your charm bag book.
It's different because the charm bags is more a cultural book. This is a more personal book. It's many histories. It's many about. It's a lot of psychology there because I'm reading psychology every day, and I have most of my friends are therapists, acupuncturists, people who work in psychology. So I always have this conversation with them about different bypass, about different aspects of the personality.
Yeah.
And I was sorry for the sound. These are my beautiful neighbors. They want to remind me that they are alive.
It's not coming through.
So, perfect.
And if it is, we can.
I enjoy it for myself.
We can edit it out. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So in this book, I try to put everything that I know about money magic, because this is a real story that I say many times. When I come to the United States, I just have $15 in my pocket.
Wow.
That literally is not something that I had from months ago. I received those $15 1 hour before to put me in the plane.
Wow.
And when I come to New York City, I don't speak the language, I don't have books, I don't have a lawyer, I don't have friends, I don't have contacts, I don't have apartment, I don't have literally anything. My partner and I has a little crisis time when we was selling sew-ups, handmade sew-ups and charm bags in a street, in a plaza, in Union Square, in different places. We passed a whole night in the winter selling charm bags in the street. That was the level that we had. And we speak a lot about it, about money, about how complicated was the situation, and I just try to resolve it in a different way. I one day I just has like a breakdown.
Yeah.
I say like I quit to all of this. I really can't do that. And I remember saying to a client, "Oh, take this canvas for money. This go to give you opportunities in the job and all of that." And when the person give me the money, I just think how I'm saying this to one person, and I know for experience that this go to work because I did it before, but this is not working for me.
Wow.
I have a breakdown in that moment.
Right, because you're over there going, I'm going to make you this prosperity charm, and
Exactly.
I don't know where my next meal is coming from.
And witches, we always do that. We always say, okay, I go to do this love spell for you, but you see witches crying because they don't have a lover in their life. I go to make this money spell for you, and you see these witches can't pay the rent just using the money of a spell work because their clients are very grateful and paying a lot of money for this. But when they try to apply the spell for them, this don't work. So I try to analyze what was happening there. And they starting to think in all of these arguments that I have with my mom, with my grandma, with my dad about money. And I trying to write down all of that. In that moment, we was working in the book on Charmas with Wiser Books. We was working on that. I remember that when I sent my proposal to the publisher, I was stealing the Wi-Fi of Starbucks because I don't have Wi-Fi in my home.
Right.
So
there you are sending this over, and you're going, okay, I've got all these charm bags, I've got all these spells that can help you improve your life, and you're like, damn it, I'm sitting in a Starbucks using a Starbucks Wi-Fi because I can't afford Wi-Fi myself.
Stealing the Wi-Fi and without the money for the coffee.
Yeah.
Imagine the frustration. And it's weird because you see, when you're working in the street, you see that your clients come back. Oh, the spell work that you give me works amazing. You have another one. I need this for my sister. I need this for my daughter. Oh, you know, Elhoim, the spell that you give me for my daughter, for the college, works amazing. I need another one. And I was like, okay, I'm literally sleeping in a plaza.
Right.
I'm using the bathroom of the McDonald's.
Right. So, but you needed to apply that to
yourself.
That's so like you're figuring out, like you said, you were talking with your friends who are in the psychology field, and you're going, where am I blocked? Where am I blocked? How come I can do this for everybody?
That's the problem, that we are blocked because we grow up in difficult situations with family because our families has a lot of past. They come from the war. They come from a different time.
Absolutely. So and that stuff is generational. It passes down through our cell memory. You know, that passes down through cell memory, and our psyches and what we hear growing up and what they heard growing up and the traumas that they had. That's not just.
And we grow up listening all of these arguments over and over. We grow up listening, money is bad, money is wrong, money is the evil, money is the devil, money corrupt the people. If you have money, you will be happy. If you see rich, when you see in the news, these famous rich people, always someone come to tell you, oh, they are rich, they have money, they have mansions, but they are not happy. And sometimes you are like, they are truly not happy. I mean, this applies to everyone. You really can have so much money and don't be happy. I mean, why is the function or the one in your life you are working to receive money if in the end you know that the money will corrupt you? So why are you doing it? So I started to make all of these questions, and I made this exercise that I made usually in the workshops of magic. I say to the people, okay, make a list of 11 reasons of what do you believe in magic and why. I believe that magic is good. Why? I believe that magic is bad. Why? I believe in black magic. Why? I believe that magic comes from the earth or from the crystals. Why? I believe that ceremonial magic is more powerful than natural magic. Why? Give me arguments. I made this exercise in the workshops. So I modify the exercise and I sit down and I write 11 things in that moment. Now they are 21. 11 things, 11 thoughts that you have in your mind about money. Money is bad. Why I think that money is bad? I think that money is bad because I grew up with my mother saying to me over and over, money is bad, money is wrong, why you need so much money? I don't want to give you more money, you don't need it. I grow up with less money than you, so you don't need it. It's all of struggling in the bypass that we have about money. Every time that we speak about money is something wrong. So when you work in spirituality and paganism and magic, you try to focus more deep every time.
Absolutely.
So you try to disconnect from reality. But sometimes we forget that reality continue being a manifestation of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything you're saying about money and prosperity, spoiler, as I'm also working on something that's prosperity and money related. I don't want you to think that I'm stealing your ideas, because I'm not. But it's been part of, just like it's been part of your work, right? It's been part of my work, and that kind of like, where am I blocked and how do I open this? And it's all that, how we're programmed to think about things. Like, you can't talk about money, and you can't.
Yes, we are blocked in that way. And I remember people come to you to make these spells. And when sometimes a witch finds this never happens to me, but I see it. When a witch see that the spell is not working for some reason, they start with a second different argument. So maybe this situation is not for you.
Right.
They're just trying to adapt to reality. No, your work like witch is trying to move the energy in favor of this
Correct.
person.
Yes, you're trying to.
Nobody's paying you to give arguments. I don't want your argument.
Right, I don't want your, but that's a really, really good point. And I think that happens a lot of times, especially around money magic and love magic.
Yes.
Is that people are, they might ask for a spell, or they might try a spell or something like that. And I get that question, how do I make more money? How do I, what food can I eat to be rich? And I'm like, that's not how it works. I'm like, you can work with foods that are going to help you increase money and prosperity,
yes.
But you have to remove some of those blockages. You have to open your heart up, and you also have to be open for the fact that it might not come from where you want it to come from, or how you thought it was going to come in the time you thought it was going to come. So it's there, and that prosperity energy is around you, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to show up for you the way you want it to. And people get very touchy about, well, it didn't happen the way I wanted it to, or it didn't happen the way you said it would. And like you said, that's the energy shifting and moving. Somebody goes, well, I'm trying to do a money spell and I got fired from my job. Well, yeah, that makes sense, because the universe is putting you in a better situation.
Out of your comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone, right?
That happens.
That's so important, to be out of your comfort zone and in a place where you can have the opportunity to grow or have more opportunity to make money or do things differently.
Yes.
It's very, very, very interesting. And so that's exciting. When is this book due out?
Comes out in July.
I'm so excited.
Exactly. It was prepared for the last year, but everything happens. So publisher decided to put for this year, and was very good because giving more time to work on that, because with all the situation around the world, I have more time to focus in home. So I elaborate more the rituals. I create more meditations that I put in the book.
Yeah.
Give me the time to work more, because when I say the proposal to the publisher, they was like, in that moment, don't was called manifestation magic, was called 21 rituals for abundance and prosperity. But the word manifestation was repeated many times inside of the book.
Yeah.
When they asked me, was like, so you're telling me that we go to make a book with just 21 rituals? Yes. Why no more? No, just 21. But it's very short, yeah, because it's exactly that what the people need. Actually, that's 21 right. Is a very nice number, but it's just that what the people need. You don't need 200 spells. No. You just need this 21.
Right. You've weeded out all the BS.
Exactly.
And you've kept the good stuff. And that's how we know it's gonna be great. Okay, so we're coming to our end of our time. So before we go, let everyone know where they can find you online. And we're gonna post everything on the show notes, so people can go to the show notes and they can see, your website and everything. But let everybody know, where can they find you online and any of your social media?
Okay, I am Elhoim Leafar. That is probably very different to pronounce in English. So just look for the word Elohim. That is a Jewish word, very, very old, because my grandpa was Jewish. Look for the word Elohim in Google or Facebook, and you will find me, because I am very noisy. I'm everywhere. You will find a lot of posts of me, a lot of selfies in there, because I'm very narcissist. Because I don't want has a designer.
And again, if some of you are just listening to this audio and you're not actually seeing Elohim's beautiful face, he's a very handsome bearded man. So you can't miss him. And where are you on you
I
on?
have bears, so if you love bears, follow me.
Oh, bears. We love bears.
Exactly.
And then you're on social media as well,
Yes,
Facebook,
Instagram, Twitter,
Instagram.
Facebook, everywhere.
Mhm, mhm.
Not on TikTok because that's not my place. That's for
No,
younger
TikTok is
people.
not it's not my place either. And he does teach, does online events. He's got, like I said, the book, The Magical Art of Crafting Charm Bags. Where can we purchase that if people want to buy that? Is that on Amazon? Is that on your own
Magical
website?
Crafting Canvas is available everywhere. It's in every store and bookstore and in Botanicas. It's
Look at
we see my
that.
book in Botanicas. And
It's
Manifestation Magic.
everywhere. You heard it
Yeah.
here, folks. His book is everywhere.
Yeah, literally. Every time that I go to a Botanica, it's like, oh, probably they don't have this kind of books. Oh, is my book in there? And
I I was in Portland, Oregon in 2019, and I walked into a great little witch shop there because somebody said, "Oh, you got to go in there," and there was my book, The Taste from the Temple, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in Portland, Oregon. Oh my
yeah,
God, they have my book!" And it was
that
like,
happens to me
I
in the
was
Bronx. I
I
go
was
into
so
a
excited.
Botanica and buying some things, and I was like, oh, that's my book.
That's
I am
my
the
book.
author. I am the author. I am the author.
Right, and then you're like, you just kind of want to stand by it, but you don't want to be
Exactly.
like, do they know who I am?
Exactly. And
That's
taking
my
pics
book.
to the book with a smartphone, and everybody's like, why you're taking pics? Because it's mine. It's mine.
It's
I'm
my book.
proud.
It's mine. Do you want me to sign it for you? It's my book.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're at all over. Just Google Elohim, which is Elhoim Leafar, Leafar, and all of those notes will be on our show notes, so you'll be able to find him. Thank you so much for being here. This
Thank
was
you.
super fun for our first episode
Thank
of
you.
Conversational Witchcraft. Remember, you can download this, you can save it. We're all over Anchor, we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast.
Share with your friends. Share.
Yeah, share with your friends. Share with your friends. Thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. I love seeing your face. I love talking to you. And yeah, thank you so much. And I leave you tonight with many blessings and much
Same.
gratitude, my friend. Much gratitude. Thank you so much.